Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the hybrid meeting of the Governance Resources and Strategy Committee. Can I ask everyone to please mute their microphones at all time unless invited to speak by myself? For those of you who are physically in the council chamber this evening, can I please remind you that when you're speaking into your microphone, you need to wait until you see yourself on the screens so that the live feed can pick up your comments. If you speak before your image is projected, those listening on the live feed or via Zoom will not hear anything you say. This is obviously particularly important in the case of a vote being required. Moving first to apologies, I have apologies from Councillor Lavery and Councillor Johnson. Are there any more that members want to? Councillor Hockin.
Hi, Chair. Sorry about that. Yes, if you could give apologies for Councillor Liam Michael and Kevin as well, Kevin Savage.
Dead on. Thank you. That's the lot then. Okay. Members' declaration of interests. Members happy to take them as we go along. Moving on then to agenda item 3, the business plan, and it's agenda item 3.1. And Sharon McNicholl is going to take this one. Sharon.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members. Members, this is a report for noting. As most of the service committees are not meeting in April or May this year, the detailed business plans for 23-24 will be presented to the June service committees. However, we wanted to bring this paper forward so that members would see the key items of work that would be contained within those and some of the risks and how those are being managed in the meantime. That is set out in some detail at Appendix 1. We will, of course, take members through all of these plans in much more detail in June whenever the new committees are up and running again, and they will set the context for the future work plans of the committees and of the departments within the council as well. Also included in the report is a high-level summary diagram of the transformation programme and the project management approach that's being taken to that as well, which is also clearly a really essential and key piece of work that departments will be taking forward over the next period as well. So members, clearly quite a lot of information in the document. Happy to take any questions at this stage, but it's there for members' reference. And if you have any questions about any of the business plans, please don't hesitate to contact any of the heads of department involved for anything specific. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Sharon, for that. And it's a separate, as a side, just when you're talking about business plans and how we're going forward. And obviously, part of our business plan is all about staffing of issues, and it's just something that was raised with me last night. And first of all, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit just in the respect that I want to congratulate our officers because we don't have a Leisure Services Committee meeting, but our officers put a lot of time and effort into making that as a tremendous event last night. Civic Hotel looked spectacularly well. Congratulate all of the winners that took place, but more importantly, those that organised the event have to be totally congratulated. And I don't want this next bit to take away from that. But whilst I was sitting at the table with the Sports Forum and others, they actually raised their disappointment with me as to why we couldn't be using the Civic Centre. They said in the past that the food has been excellent. Not that there was anything wrong with the Civic Hotel, I want to make that very clear. But they said the service, the food, every attention to detail from all of the staff is excellent. And the first port of call they went to was our Civic Centre. And what happened? They weren't able to use it. And did a little bit of investigating about it, and it turns out that we can't get staff. And whilst that was very disappointing for that one event, if we can't get it for that particular event, how many more events are we within our civic building not being able to cater for? And Chair, I think that's something we need to be really looking at. I mean, is it a matter of did we not advertise for staff well enough in advance? Or is it the fact that we don't have a list of casual workers? Because I know when Margaret Parks was here, she had a list of every young person in the borough. You know, we did not have a problem with that. So it's not maybe an answer for tonight, maybe we'll bring that back. But certainly that's something we need to be looking at, because we're losing a lot of revenue there, Chair. And they actually voiced their disappointment of not actually being able to use our own building. But what I would like brought back is, Sharon, if it's possible, or whoever's responsible for that, is how many we have turned away due to lack of staffing. How many events we have turned away because we can't cater for that. So that's something I would like to see brought. I'm not sure, Chair, maybe your advice there as to where that could be brought to, because I don't want it sitting. I maybe not be back again in June. So therefore, although I'm sure someone will pick it up. But I've said my point, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And you make a very valid point, Councillor Tinsley. I mean, I raised this, I think it was in December, as to what the usage was of the building. And I think it is important that officers go away and come back and tell us how many people have been turned away, because we should be showcasing this building for an event like last night. And that's no reference to the excellent work the Seagull Hotel do, but this is a civic headquarters. And I think we need to, maybe members could be updated as the reasoning around this, so we can get over it. All right, Councillor McClellan.
Yes, Chair, thank you for letting me in. And I think the first thing I would want to say would be to completely agree with what Councillor Tinsley has said in terms of the winners and so on at the fabulous event that was on last night in terms of the sports awards. Well done, everyone, well done, all involved. But Chair, I would have to say, I mean, having listened to my colleague's contribution a few moments ago, I'm shocked that, the state of affairs has arisen where we can't hold major events like this. And I mean, it seems to me that in 2019, I think we held the Junior Sports Awards in the Mays Hall, absolutely full crowd and so on. So I suppose my question is what has changed? Who has lost the focus? Just what has happened? And sure, I would totally agree in terms of what you said. We should be showcasing this building. And I know in the course of my duties as the Deputy Mayor, I mean, I have people in here virtually every week from groups, and they think it is a fantastic building. And sure, we are missing an opportunity here. And, we hear much of the revenue position of this organisation, and then we hear a scenario that has been outlined by Councillor Tinsley. Sure, it's just not good enough, but certainly if Councillor Tinsley is making that a proposal, I'm more than willing to second it. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, it has been proposed by Councillor Tinsley, seconded yourself, that further information is brought back to members or back to this committee in relation to this item. Happy to leave it at that. Agreed. Thank you. Moving on then to agenda item 4, report from Head of Strategy and Performance, and Martina McNulty is going to take us through 4.1. Martina.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. Members, this is one of the regular policy screening reports, and attached is a report for April 23, which includes policies screened and are published on the Council's website between January and March 23, and there are 6 policies included in the report. Happy to take any questions, but it does require a decision to approve. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a proposer and seconder? I don't. Proposed by the Deputy Lord Mayor, seconded by, we're light on members in the chamber tonight, folks, in case some of you at home are wondering. Don't hold back. Seconded by Councillor Tinsley and agreed. Thank you. 4.2 and 4.3 will be taken by Gary Scott, Safeguarding Coordinator. Gary.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, both 4.2 and 4.3, Council continues to be committed that domestic abuse is unacceptable and everybody's right to live free from fear of abuse. Item 4.2 is the 10-year strategy to replace the existing one, and it's for approval. Council has been involved in the consultation around this and working parties to set out the details of it. You'll see in the report there are 4 key strands: partnership, prevention, support and justice. 8 outcomes listed at page 21 within the document. In principle, Council supports all of the pillars and the outcomes within the strategy, which will then be set out in a series of action plans yearly. So the request is the Council would approve 4.2, which is the 10-year domestic abuse and sexual violence strategy. 4.3 then, slightly different in the context of domestic abuse, but it's basically...
if you just...
Sorry,
Guy. If you just hold on, we'll deal with 4.2 first of all. Members haven't any questions? Do we have a proposer and seconder for 4.2? Councillor Flaherty. Proposed, or sorry, you want to speak?
Sorry, yes, no, I'm happy enough to propose that, and I want to apologise for not being in the chamber this evening, but happy to propose. I've spoken to Gary Scott a number of times and happy to speak to him again if needs be. This is very, very, very much required, and happy to see this going through. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Savage.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, happy to second that. Much needed.
Thank you. Thank you. Proposed, seconded and agreed then. Okay, Guy, coming back down to 4.3.
Okay, 4.3, slightly different in the sense that in criminal proceedings, people who are victims of domestic abuse are protected within the court arena by not having to be cross-examined by the perpetrator and not live in court, in effect. So this proposal of consultation from the Department of Justice is about those people who are victims of domestic abuse giving evidence and being provided with automatic prohibition from cross-examination in person and family proceedings in the same way as they can avail of in criminal proceedings. There are a list of contained within the document, list of circumstances ranging from reports to housing executive details, domestic abuse support organisations, counselling notes. Council position is, and I'm asking the council to prove this, that cross-examination should apply where there's any underlying element of domestic abuse, as domestic abuse is pervasive, and that in and of itself would prevent anybody from freely being able to talk about it. So they should have the same safeguards in family court as they do in criminal court.
Thank you. Okay, members, it's with you again. Councillor Flaherty.
Yes, Chair, thank you for letting me in. Thank you, Gary, for presenting this to us this evening. It's a very meaty document, which it should be. It's a very difficult document to read, which it should be for all of us. And thank you for bringing it to us and giving us this chance to go through. I'm happy to propose this, Chair, because I know that's what you're looking to get the thing moved on, and I'll not linger. But anyone who knows anyone has been through this will know how utterly devastating it all is, and anything that we can do to help those victims on either side is the best that we can possibly do, and is the best thing to do for the justice system. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Proposed by Councillor Flaherty, seconded by Councillor Tinsley, and agreed. Thank you. Agenda item 5. Thank you, Guy. Agenda item 5 is in relation to consultation documents from external organisations, and I'm bringing Elaine Gillespie in to speak to this one. Elaine.
Thank you, Chair, and evening members. Yes, 5.1 is our monthly responses to external consultation documents, and attached as Appendix 1 is published and presented to committee for consideration this month's consultation responses. In addition, this month, Appendix 2 is a letter which was received from Fermanagh and Omagh District Council asking ABC Council to respond positively to a current consultation on the South West Acute Hospital. The decision was taken at committee last month to note that consultation rather than respond to it, But if members are minded to change the decision on that, the closing date for response is the 10th of April, and I would suggest that we do so in the form of a letter of support. So I'm asking for members' consideration on the recommendations to approve the consultation schedule for this month as Appendix 1, and for members' consideration of the letter from Fermanagh and Omagh Council as Appendix 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Okay, members, you have it in front of you. Anyone, any thoughts around the issue from Fermanagh? We noted it last month, but would members be minded to send a letter of support? Because the deadline for the consultation is next week, so it needs to be sorted tonight. Councillor Flaherty.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to note this as was agreed at Council. Maybe I'm missing something here. If you can clarify that. I thought it was agreed that we noted these letters.
Yeah. That's it. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So can we have a proposer then for the motion? Sorry? All right. Thank you. Proposed by Councillor Tinsley and seconded by Councillor Flaherty. Or was it the other way around? The other way around. Okay. Okay. We'll not die in the ditch over it. Proposed by Councillor Flaherty, seconded by Councillor Tinsley, and agreed. Thank you. The next item is for information only. So unless anyone wants to raise it, I'm minded to move on. And the same relates to agenda item 6. Agenda item 7, correspondence. I have no items of correspondence, so I'm seeking a proposer and a seconder that we move into committee to deal with confidential business. Proposed by Councillor Tinsley, seconded by Deputy Lord Mayor, and agreed. Thank you. Members and online viewers, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of council. This means that we will be turning off the public feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask ICT officers to please turn off the feed and confirm with me when the confidential section can proceed? Session. Thank you. There are no notified items for any other relevant business tonight. But can I just say this is the last meeting that we have in this format before elections and before the end of the current council term. So as chair, can I thank the director and officers and the staff, and that's especially Patricia over the last year for her cooperation, flexibility, and indeed patience with this chair. And also to my vice chair for his support, and to the members of the committee for making my life that little bit easier. And I wish you all well, whether you're standing for elections or whether you're not. Thank you. Okay. Good evening.
Thank you, Chair. Evening.